Hola, soy Mónica Conesa y estás mirando Eclectic Arts Media.
We'd get our scripts and it would only say our lines in the script. It was very hush hush.
Hi, my name is Calder Schilling and I'm playing Sherlock Holmes.
Hello, I'm Nate Tenenbaum playing Watson.
And you're watching Eclectic Arts Media.
Aloha, I'm Jake Shimobukuro and you're watching Eclectic Arts Media.
Opportunity these people had and then they just ruined it.
Hi guys, I'm Jillian Summers and you are watching Eclectic Arts Media.
Hi, I'm Mara Vincent, co-artistic director of Olympic Ballet Theater and Olympic Ballet School.
Hi, I'm Oleg Garbulov, co-artistic director of Olympic Ballet Theater and Olympic Ballet School.
And you're watching Eclectic Arts Media.
That's not true. People tell me no all the time. I just don't believe them.
Hey, I'm Jennifer Page, and you're watching Eclectic Arts Media.
Then when I'm doing the preparation for Shoresy, I just try to remind myself, this is fun. Make sure you're having fun. You don't have to destroy people in every scene.
If you got on my YouTube algorithm, man, it's all just life coaches and philosophy, and I mean, not all of it. It's some of it's street fights and football, but
Alex, get off the phone.
The sunlight comes for me, my golden soul shines. To earth I will return, her fallen star divine.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. I'm Mark Sugiyama from Eclectic Arts Media, based here in Seattle, Washington, and I'm very excited for me this morning's interview. My guest today is a legend in the Gothic metal community. From her years with Theater of Tragedy, as well as Leaves Eyes, she has paved the way for future generations with her distinct vocal prowess and on-stage presence. She is also a longtime successful solo artist. Her brand new album, Amor Vincit Omnia, will be released next month on April 25th on Metalville. Please welcome to the Eclectic Arts Media virtual studio, Miss LIV KRISTINE.
Thank you so much, and a very good morning, afternoon to you. And I do hope you already had your morning cup of coffee. I'm having my afternoon tea, a cup of tea, and it's a pleasure and honor talking to you. And thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for taking the time. And yeah, as we talked a little bit pre-show, I've got some caffeine in me, so I'm feeling good. And looks like, and you have your afternoon tea, and so
Yes.
Both sides, we are looking good.
We are looking darn good.
Yeah, and so let's definitely dive into the brand new album that's coming out next month. And I'm kind of curious, being a musician myself, what's the timeline in terms of when you're writing these songs? How far back does that go? And then also the recording process for the album.
Well, the process for Amor Vincit Omnia was shorter than any writing process so far in my solo career, or I guess in my eternal career, because it was actually a process that started at that point of time when River of Diamonds, my sixth soul album, was released. So we were just about to finish the master procedure of River of Diamonds, when we were just getting into the new compositions of Amor Vincit Omnia. So it all went hand in hand, and I feel like there is so much energy being present on River of Diamonds that are held on Amor Vincit Omnia. So I would say, to make the story short, maybe a year or something, 1 year or 1.5 years maybe. That was the time we needed to finish my seventh soul album. So but with two different composers, I have to say, two different producers, but the same mastering person.
Okay, and are you the type of artist that when you're writing songs for a new album that you have specifically 10 or 11 songs, or are you someone that writes like 20 or 25 and you kind of whittle it down?
Well, it's like I really I feel privileged to have composers around me, to be surrounded by composers who send me more songs than I actually need. So I actually pick the pearls. So I every time I listen to a composition, or maybe it's just a chorus or a verse, it's like, okay, this is exactly what resonates with me. And I got the words, I got the melodies, and it all happens quite quickly and instantaneously. It's like something that comes to my mind whenever I have the time and peace and space to sit down and let it come in. So I'm really lucky in that way. I've never run out of ideas, and when I hear a track and it's like, wow, this is exactly what I need right now, I go for it and I work on it. The pre-production for Amor Vinketomnia was much longer than the actual recording session, because we recorded the whole thing in just a couple of weeks. But I spend a lot of time with the songs at home here with a garage band, and you name it, any device to record vocals, which is not too complicated, which doesn't take too much time, because I'm normally I have a 9 to 5 job or a 8 to 4 job. I'm a teacher for children with special needs, so it's like during the weekends I spend time with music, and I need things to continue at a certain pace. I need to feel that things are moving on. So yeah, during the weekends I'm all music and music writing or playing shows.
Okay, well, I'm definitely going to come back to what you mentioned, because I have something in common with you when you talk about your teaching background, but I'm going to kind of save that for like another 10 minutes or so. So like you're saying, you're really blessed to have a large batch of songs presented to you, and you're kind of waiting for the, kind of the feeling to, like, this one's really kind of speaking to me, and I want to work on it. Do you ever get to a point where you're working on songs that just kind of like, it sounds like they instantly slip out of you, but then you have on the other side, sometimes you might be laboring over one for a while. It's like it's just not coming to you, to kind of leave it alone and come back to it? Are there any songs like that on the album?
Yeah, it's 2 songs actually. 12th of February, which is it caught me the very first time I heard it. It caught me, but I didn't have that idea straight away what it should sound like, and what it should, the theme, the concept. I wasn't really sure about it, but I just couldn't leave the melodies. I kept humming the melodies of the guitars, and then I went on a walk on the 12th of February. I went on a walk with my dog. I walked my dog through the forest, and then I had this whole thing, this poem coming, just entering my mind. And I was luckily I had my phone with me, so I just read it all. I recorded everything and went home, like totally excited. Okay, I need to record my vocals right now, with second voices, third voices, everything, And that was it. That was that moment when I thought, this song has been waiting for this perfect moment. So the lyrics you hear, the words I'm singing on the 12th of February, is actually my own mantra. It came to me on the 12th of February, 2024, during my walk with my dog in the forest, somewhere in the Swiss Alps. And it has stayed with me since then. So I actually say these words every morning. It's my prayer to the world and to myself. So it's very special. And then Unzip My Love is the title is very untypical for LIV KRISTINE. This is like, doesn't sound romantic at all. But actually it is. It is very romantic. It is about love. But when Sasha, my composer and guitar player, when he unzipped this song, it was like, hell, it doesn't really resonate with me, but I like it. But maybe it shouldn't be on the album. And then I just I fell in love with it. And I asked Sasha, it's actually the first time I think that I asked the composer to come up with a melody for me before I had the idea myself. So it's like he was the source this time. And when it comes to my melodies, and then I got it. Okay, this is exactly where he wants to be at, and that's perfect. So it was a special experience.
Okay, yeah, sounds like it. And it's interesting. I'm glad you gave me the background on 12th of February, because that's actually one of the song titles I wanted to hear more about, the lyrical content and where the inspiration came from. But you already explained it to me. So that's great that that's your mantra. And also that as you were walking your dog in the forest, that all of this came to you. And it's just, I got to, basically have to ride this wave now. I got to get back home. I got to record this.
Yeah.
At least put it into my phone so I don't forget. And make sure it happens. It's always interesting as musicians when that inspiration strikes you, and you never know where it's going to come from sometimes, or what time it's going to hit you, and then you have to jump on it right then.
Yeah, you have to jump on it right then. Yeah, because then that this is exactly what I need, what resonates with me. This is what I want to say, and I feel really privileged to still be around. I've been around since the beginning of the 90s, and I never run out of ideas actually. And when I hear something, it just catches me and it makes me happy, and I just feel this great inspiration, and it's yeah, this kind of creativity that comes from within, or maybe it's connected to the universe. I don't know, but it feels great still after all these years.
Yeah, I know when I was preparing for the interview, and I first came across your music, like most people, from Theater of Tragedy in those days, that I'm like, it's been over 3 decades.
Yeah, it's been over 3 decades. Yeah, but I think the only thing that has changed is, well, probably I'm wearing glasses now, but I didn't do back then. But I still feel the same, and I still do play some of the old Theater of Tragedy songs, legendary songs, for my audiences. So it's yeah, nothing has changed in that matter. Maybe the musicians around me I'm surrounded by, and the composers, but I still feel the same. So my mantra in the music business has always been: be authentic, be yourself. It doesn't matter what other people say about your artistic work. It has to be authentic. It has what I do has to be authentic with me, and my period of life, my life chapter, right there and then. So every album is kind of a book. Or you could see it as a chapter of my life. There is nothing left unsaid. And you guys are out there. And then when I thought about leaving the whole thing, and I will not go on stage again. 2016, the Big Bang, I was thrown out of my own band and just left with nothing. And I thought, no, this I can't deal with music business anymore. It's too brutal. And then there were guys like you out there, calling, like, okay, so you just can't let us down. You can't leave us right now. So you better do something. Come on, where are you? And that was when I just entered, when I got to the point, I can't be without my music. And thanks to you guys, I'm still around after 3 decades.
Well, I'm definitely glad and grateful that you decided to come back and stay here. Like you said, it's part of your chapter, and not letting other people dictate what you do with your life. If anybody wants to go back, I started doing these live streams during the pandemic.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've done
It
interviews.
takes courage to do that, Mark. Yeah.
Well, and I've full transparency. There's this wonderful band out of Los Angeles called Alice, and I'd interviewed them in 2017 in person, and they decided to do a virtual tour in 2020, and they contacted me. Yeah, they contacted me about Mark, how would you like to open up our shows? And I didn't quite understand, like, how am I going to open up your shows? They said, well, we know you know lots of artistic people. We thought you could do like 30-minute interviews, and that's what would kick off our shows. And I'm like,
Wow.
I'm not tech savvy. I didn't have a lot of gear or anything to be able to make this happen. But I said, I have my phone. Will that work? And we tested it out, and it worked fine from them in Los Angeles and me in Seattle. And I was nervous as heck. So if you watch the first few interviews I did this way, it was terrible. I didn't know where to look, and I had my camera in the wrong position. But it was something that I'm so glad that I did, because now I've done almost 400 of these.
Wow. Congratulations. You can be so proud of yourself.
Thank you. It's something that kind of, I think for a lot of artistic people, you have to kind of remind yourself, like, step back and kind of look at what you've done, and be proud of what you've done.
Yes.
And it's so easy to kind of forget, like, wow, you've done a lot of work, and like in your case, you've got this huge body of music that you've presented to the world. And you never want to forget that, because it's so easy to do it.
It's so easy to do it, and I see no reason in why should one walk with the nose up in the sky just because you're the headliner of a huge festival. You're not better than anybody else. Just try to be as much as down to earth as you can, and that will help you when there will always be times when you're not a headliner anymore, right? You're not even invited to play at the festival. So just stay low, and you will find safety then. I think that's so important, because the music business is sometimes a very dangerous place to be if you make yourself become dependent on what other people say.
Very well said. I've said many times on my interviews that I do with these live streams about that I get people that ask me about doing certain things that I'm just not interested in doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like what you were saying earlier, you need to be true to yourself.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
You can't pretend. Again, if you go back to my early interviews, I was trying to be like almost like a TV show host or something, and it's like, that's not me. That's not my style. And I asked a friend that was watching one, I said, "What did you think of my interview?" And they're like, "You know what I like, Mark? I like the part when you're being self-deprecatingly funny about yourself."
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and I'm kind of like, that's the part that you liked, and that's what flipped the switch in my head. Like, I just need to be who I am, and if people like it, they do, and if they don't, they don't. And not change myself to try to appease other people.
Well said. Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually, the audience will find you. Is the way that I look at it.
Exactly. You're saying it so well. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Sounds like we kind of have some similar thoughts about
Yes,
the topic.
the same frequency. I feel that already.
Yeah. This is very, very cool for me.
Very cool.
Yeah, and I'm kind of switching back to with the new album that's coming out next month. I'm really curious about When Stillness Speaks, the last track on the record. What can you tell me about that particular song?
It's it's about the dark night of the soul. It's like when stillness speaks, when you have nothing else left than going within. And I think everybody has that. At some point in your life, it could even happen a couple of times that you fall and you feel like everything's just in crumbles and bits and pieces, even your own soul, and you lose yourself. And that's what I'm trying to explain on River of Diamonds, the album, the sixth solo album, the album before, is like, there is no other way around. If you want to dissolve your traumas, experience anything that is not really you, or maybe stuff that happened to you, you need to go to that dark place. But River of Diamonds is, as the title says, it's also an album about hope, right? So it's like, if you are courageous, if you have a look at those parts, those dark places within your soul, if you can do that, when you come out of the tunnel, you're going to see you're gonna love life in a much different way. You're gonna have um, a different resilience. You're gonna build up resilience again. You know, after total breakdown, you need new boundaries. You need to build up your resilience, define it all anew, and all this comes out of having been torn apart, having felt this great breakdown. So River of Diamonds is about hope, and it's about, when do you see the stars shining? It's on the night sky, right? And when do you see the light in the tunnel? It's when you're in the darkness, right? So, and then there is Amor Vincit Omnia, and that album actually explains why. What why do we even go through this? Why do we even want to dissolve our traumas, past experience? It's about coming home to oneself, to know who you really are, and that comes with with dissolving your fears, and seeing life as it unfolds without sticking to all those fears. Those fears, are linked to your past. They come from your past experience. So when you can dissolve from that, and when you can see life from a different perspective, namely not through fearful eyes, but through open eyes, being open-minded, and okay, I'm ready to see how life unfolds. But right now, I'm actually happy. I can hear the birds singing, or I have a beautiful interview with Mark right now. I'm having my afternoon cup of tea, and my dog is sleeping next to me. Isn't that beautiful? That's 3 or 4 beautiful things linked to this very moment, and I think that's pure luck. I think I forgot your question, but I went on a different path, but it felt great.
No, I think you gave me the answer by giving me more background with the sixth album, River of Diamonds, and also how this album is basically kind of answering that other question that was posed on the sixth album. So
Stillness speaks, right? It's all about that, going within. Yeah.
yeah, and I can tell you from personal experience that I've definitely been in a position where I had to basically unlearn many things about myself, which was really hard, very painful. I don't wish it on anyone, but at the same time, as I was kind of rebuilding myself piece by piece, my perspective changed hugely, and a big piece of it was also a little bit of forgiveness. Like, some of these things were completely out of my control, but I was still hanging on to them like I was at fault for it.
Yes.
And it's like, that wasn't you. There wasn't anything you could have done in that time.
Exactly. It happened to you, right? There are actually things that they happen to you, but I think the hardest thing is to forgive oneself, isn't it?
Absolutely. I know it was for me. It was something that, honestly traumatized me for years until I got to a point of like,
so sorry.
Oh yeah, it's and once you kind of go down that rabbit hole, then there's like this thing over here and this thing over here and this thing over here, and you're like, holy moly, everything is connected to each other. And then I've kind of based my life off of things that really weren't even true.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's like this thing goes on in your mind. It's like this monkey mind, and it builds up stuff and stories, and of course it comes from somewhere. You had your experiences, but your mind also interprets and reacts. In the end, your mind really wants to protect you so it doesn't happen again, right? But then your mind can be a very dangerous place to be, because it's not always the truth, and it's definitely not the voice of your true authentic self.
Absolutely. That's exactly how I felt, and some of the things that I was going through, and then I had to get to the realization. And I'm so glad that I've been able to build off of this new self of me for the last 10 plus years at least. And even like right now, doing the interview with you, I don't know if I would be doing this if I had stayed on that same path.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there's lots wonderful things that have happened by going through that dark period for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And this it's kind of a good way to segue. You mentioned that you have a background in teaching with special needs students, and for 7 years right out of college, that's what I did. I was a special education teacher.
Wow. Oh, so
And
we share that thing too. We have so much in common.
we do. I also spent like 10 years working with inner city youth in Seattle.
Wow.
I worked with
In
foster.
Seattle.
Yeah, exactly. In Seattle, there's never a boring moment.
No.
I also work with children that are exclusively in the foster care system.
Okay.
So I was their educational advocate for their schools. So if they weren't getting things that they were legally entitled to, then I was the one that was called on to go make a visit to that school and kind of have a conversation about what's going on here, because you're not doing things that this child is entitled to by the law. So I got to see things from both sides of the classroom per se. And I'm curious, with your background, is this something that you've always wanted to do, or did you just kind of stumble into teaching and working with special needs?
I think I stumbled into it, but it's always been there because I grew up with children with special needs. My mother had some kind of a daycare place where children with special needs who couldn't for some reason enter a kindergarten, a normal kindergarten. So I grew up with very special, beautiful children, even at my same age, and we were, this gang, spending time together in nature because I grew up on the countryside of Norway. So there was space enough to be free and to, these kids were like my brothers and sisters. And I do have one sister. She's 7 years younger than me. And my mother didn't do the daycare thing then, but when I was very little, that was my daily life. And I didn't go to a kindergarten. I didn't enter a kindergarten myself because I chose, and I'm glad I was being asked back then. I chose to stay home because I just had this beautiful childhood with freedom and seasons and other children to play with. Really special young human beings. And so it's always been there. And then in 2016, when I was forced to leave size, and there was this big bang, this big crash and breakdown, a personal breakdown in my life, I had to start thinking about how do I take care of my family financially. I needed to find a place to live. And then there was a couple of years later, there was this period of COVID, and then it was, I'm very lucky to have found my job within this area before COVID. So I was safe then. But yeah, it's always been there. This thing with people with special needs, and then I basically picked up the phone and called somebody because I saw an advertisement. We need somebody to take care of one special boy in the autistic spectrum, and that was just like that calling for me to just give them a call and tell them who you are. And I never studied within this field. I wish I could have done that, but I've been busy since then with special schools and special teachings. So it has become a part of me. Life unfolded that way, and I just love it. Just as music, I never studied music, and you know this working with children and being a musician. That's what I did not study, but it happened to me. So yeah, it gives me a feeling. It gives me the feeling that it's good the way life has unfolded because it has shown me the areas with which I truly resonate. You know, I can be really authentic, and it's a great privilege. But you have to have courage to do this, because I could be in another field, the field, you know, a field where you can, you know, earn a lot of money, and you could be a rock star, or. But no, I chose something different, which is me. And I studied linguistics, so it has to do with what I'm doing today, both, you know, writing lyrics and working with children. So it's beautiful the way things happened after the big crash.
Well, that sounds like such a, I mean, just you explaining this, there's so much organic energy coming from you that it's easy to tell that, yes, you know, life found something for you that
Yeah,
is exactly what you
yeah.
wanted to be doing.
Hmm.
And ironically enough, most of the time, as I've been doing the media outlet, I have a day job as well. And
Yeah.
right now, it looks like, depending on how things go, I might end up back in that same world where I was working and helping youth. So it's kind of interesting to me that it's like, well, I did that for, you know, for 20 years, and I kind of pivoted to some other things, and then this started up. And but I'm like, yeah, there's it's always going to be a part of me. It's something that
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't, and I don't want to change that.
yeah, yeah.
So, but it's been interesting, like doing interviews for like job interviews
Mm.
about this, and I have to remember, like, man, look at all this, you know, the places you work, the populations you work with, all the memories, all the other skill sets and tools that you developed, and I kind of forgot about it,
Yeah, there you
honestly.
go. It seems like the world needs you, Mark.
And see, and that's I'm a big believer in you know, kind of what the universe is trying to tell me, and trying to
Mm.
make sure that I listen to it,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
not ignore it and watch it go by.
Yes, you're right. It was just half a year ago when we decided to move back to Norway, because currently we're living in Switzerland, and I used to live in Germany for a period of 20 years, and my son was born in Germany, so it was like, okay, moving to Switzerland. Oh, that was a big step. You know, the bird had flown and mom was flying too, you know. And now we're moving to Norway, and that was something I didn't really see. I'm going to spend a couple of more years with my family here in Switzerland. It's not going to happen too soon or that soon. And then all of a sudden it was clear that things are falling together, coming, you know, the bits and pieces are making up that puzzle now. And that the message is we're moving to Norway in July. So yes, okay. But I tried to kind of push it away, like, no, it's not going to happen now. But it's happening. And it was good. It was great that I opened up my eyes, because there are huge opportunities waiting out there. And we're even buying my dad's house at the fjord. My grandma is, you know, she's over the moon. She's turning 90 now, and she's over the moon, and she promised me to live for another 10 years, you know. She wants to pass the 100. So, you know, lots of beautiful things happening. So I'm glad I opened up my eyes. We're moving to Norway.
Yeah, you just gave a perfect example of, you know, the universe saying something to you, and you're kind of initially like, I don't think I want to do this right now, or I don't want to do it at
Yeah,
all.
don't want to quit my job, my current job.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
here we
then
are.
exactly.
Can't ignore it. Can't ignore it.
As we get close to winding this down, Liv, what is coming up for the new album? Do you have any music videos that are in the can that you're going to be working on, or some shows here and there? What's coming up?
Well, both, yes. Two videos. The second one, the first one is for the 12th of February, and the second one is for Amor Vincit Omnia, the title track. And it was Amor Vincit Omnia was finished yesterday. So beautiful, beautiful videos. And yes, we're going to play a couple of shows, not really nearby Seattle. I'm sorry. So it's not even on your continent. So you know, you don't know how much I've been longing, you know, to come back to play for you guys. And I really hope that we can make this happen very soon. First we move to Norway, and then we're gonna sit down and have a look at the live touring plans for the future, because I think we have recovered after the COVID times. I think there is more space for artists like me to play gigs now, even on other continents. So I'll be back, I promise you.
Well, that's good news because, I mean, speaking as someone here in America, we need your kind of music more now than ever over here.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I missed you guys. And I see that, I have lots of friends and fans and followers from the US and from the American continent. So it's, it's like there is this calling within to go and make this happen because it's been a while. It's been way too long.
Okay, and the last thing, if I could take another minute, is that for me, if this was on vinyl, it wouldn't have any grooves left. That's how many times I listened to it. So, what can you tell me about this particular album? Because truthfully, out of all the genres of music that I listen to, this has got to be one of my top 10 albums, period.
Wow. Thank you so much. That was 1989, I think.
Let's look at it. It's 1998.
98, yeah, 98. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, it was Tommy Olsson, the composer, main composer of this album, is also the guy behind River of Diamonds, my second but last release. And Tommy is having a break now. He has a 9-to-5 job too, and a family and a house in Norway. But it's like I even play some of these songs, Siren Venus. I play these songs live when I'm uh, playing solo shows. I'm still playing some of these songs, and it's just a part of me. And if you want to make a comparison between Amor Vinketomnia and Aegis, you will find a good connection between the two. And Amor Vinketomnia is actually that piece that will remind you the most about Aegis. So I'm very proud of Aegis, and it's a great album, and it's a unique album, and there is only one in this genre composed by or made released by Theatre of Tragedy. The two albums before were more gothic, doom, metal, and then you had Aegis, which was for the times back then. We gained a lot of criticism for doing something like that. We weren't true anymore, because we kind of we stayed in the darkness, but we added even much more beauty and angelic voices and light, and then Theatre of Tragedy entered a different era with a very very different style. That was music and yes.
Assembly.
Assembly, thank you. Yes. So Aegis is in the very middle. It was the third out of 5 albums on which I was part of with Theatre of Tragedy. It's the one. It's the pearl. You picked the right one, and it has a lot to say when it comes to what I'm doing today as an artist. It has a great impact on my creative work even today.
That's wonderful to hear. There's definitely, as I was listening to the new album, track to track, there's a few tracks that kind of put me back in that headspace of this wonderful album.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I don't know how many times in my old home where I was living that I'd be playing this, and some friend would come in like, Mark, what are we listening to? And then I'd show them the CD and talk about the band and everything. So I need to buy this. Like, yeah, you do. You need to buy this right now.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. It means a lot to me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Liv, thank you so much for taking the time. It was an absolute pleasure talking with you today, and looking forward to everything that you have coming in with the 2 videos for the new album. And everybody out there, again, April 25th on Metalville next month, it officially comes out. And if there's ever another opportunity in the future for me and you to connect like this and talk, I would love to do a part 2 at some point.
I would be so happy to talk to you again, and maybe to meet you someday. And that would be a real pleasure and honor. And thank you for this wonderful, beautiful interview. And you know, I I really like to think, and I do believe that people being on the same frequency, they end up meeting somehow, even if there are thousands of kilometers in between us. There is this kind of common frequency. So I really enjoyed the interview with you, Mark, and I wish you all the best with everything you're doing. It's a beautiful thing you're doing, and we need you. We need you I need you to support what I'm doing, and I just want to say that I'm very thankful for that. Thanks for doing this and giving me this space and time to talk to you today.
Well, again, I'm so flattered that you just said what you did. Thank you so much
You're
for everything.
welcome.
Yeah, and I also believe too that when you find people that you're on the same frequency with, that, and I also call it it's people that are part of your tribe,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
eventually the universe or life is going to put you in the same space at some point, and it just kind of naturally happens that way. So here's to looking forward to that moment when it happens.
Thank you so much. It's beautiful the way you say it, and gives me ideas for my 8th solo album. You're part
Oh,
of that. If you want it or not, you're already part of it. You think I need to sit down and make me a second cup of tea, afternoon tea, and continue writing for my 8th album.
wow.
I already started, actually. That's why I'm saying this. And wow, that's a pretty beautiful idea. I'll grab that.
Oh, that's amazing. I'll let you
Thank you.
go on that journey then of writing for
Thank
the.
you. Thank you, Mark.
Oh, all right. Take care.
So take care, be safe, Mark, and
You,
hope to talk to you again very soon or to meet you. That would be the most wonderful thing. Thank you so much. Be safe.
I as well. Take care.
Take care. Bye bye.